Welcome to Las Vegas for the 20th Weber Cup. It's the USA against Europe, and the hosts currently hold a commanding lead. Let's take a look back at what's happened so far on day 3.
Different day, same story. Team USA rolling over Team Europe. Bowling gets a lot easier when you always have a friend helping out with the 10-pin. That's why Stuart Williams is a champion. I mean, this is what champions do. It's going to be a southpaw samba. Team Europe mounting a little bit of a comeback. What happened there? It feels like a maelstrom down there.
Captain America, Chris Barnes, delivering for Team USA.
Is Team Europe running out a lane? He has found his zone, has Kyle Troup. He's hot like a firecracker. Oh, he might have found his zone. And a little bit of a fist pump there.
3 wins in a row have seen America claim victory in the 3rd session of this year's Weber Cup and open up a 6-point lead over their European rivals. With 18 the total needed to lift the trophy, can the hosts finish the session on a high, or can Europe end the streak and begin their fight back? Let's find out as Jacob Butturff takes on Dominic Barrett. Commentary for this match comes from Guy Kaminsky, Tim Mack and Jesse May.
Dom Barrett, really, he's going to have to try and salvage something from a day he will likely want to forget. He picked this pattern, Guy, and yet he's thrown 2 singles matches and been pretty dismal so far, up to his standards.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out as planned, and the most concerning thing for me is that both the fresh game immediately after the oiling has been a disaster for Europe. They don't seem to have the right strategy at all, and we watched Stu make the same mistake as Dom. So to me, I mean, the fact that Dom's bowled on this already, do you think he's in a better position now?
Well, he certainly has more information than he had before, and he certainly has to attack the lane differently, which it looks like he is in practice. Looks like he's going to try to possibly use a urethane bowling ball. It's certainly what the strategy he's used already obviously hasn't worked, so he's got to throw that all out the window. And listen, you've got to go win 1 point. You got to do whatever it takes to win 1 point,
and then go from there. Yeah. And to be fair, Jacob Butturff didn't look that comfortable. Now, he lost his match earlier on this pattern, so maybe there is a point for the taking there if Dom can get it together.
Yeah, the one thing that Jacob didn't do, Guy, is he did something that he's not really good at. He tried to loft it and hit it hard. And Jesper was a little cleaner with the bowling ball and was able to bowl the better game. Now, let's see what changes Jacob might make here.
I mean, what I really enjoy seeing it, best players in the world, and there's no doubt about that, is just seeing them, how Kyle made that lane look so easy.
Incredible.
And then Oscar steps up and it looked basically impossible.
Yeah, it's just amazing when you're confident and you're clicking on all cylinders, you know, things fall your way.
Last match of the session, Butturff trying to keep it rolling for USA, leaves 1.
So the one thing about Jacob is that if he starts striking, he doesn't stop.
Ever.
But the problem...
Days, sometimes weeks.
like Simonson for a day or 2. Yeah. But the problem is, if he doesn't get hot, he doesn't have that... He's still so young, he doesn't have that B game like Chris has got A, B, C, D games.
Correct.
His B game's no good.
Yeah, that'll come along in time, because Jacob's got a very unique release and very unique style of bowling, and he'll develop that over time. As you said, he's still quite young and still sifting through it. And you got to remember, being the debutant here at the Weber Cup and this first time, these are whole new experiences and whole new different situation for Jacob to face.
Yeah, he's handled a lot of really new things quite well here, and obviously none so well as knocking down that 10th frame.
And there we see the tactical change already, Jesse. Dominic Barrett playing the lane totally different than he has the first 2 matches on the fresh. Straighter is greater.
I mean, that's the advantage of having played the first game today, is that he went with the urethane ball, took the launch angle absolutely out of it, went up the lane, controlled the pocket, very little hook down lane. I think he's just trying to get. We saw Oscar do the same thing yesterday. Also, just went to the urethane and trying to go back to basics. Keep it simple, let the confidence come back.
And don't give the pocket away. Guy, you made a great point that I actually really didn't think about, because I watched Jacob bowl a lot. When he gets it going, it just goes. It seems like it's never going to end. But then when he doesn't, and he just can't seem to, find his way, it takes him a little bit of time and a little bit of rhythm and a little bit of. I think it's a confidence thing, like you said.
And what kind of adjustments should he be thinking about right now making?
Well, Jesse, that's a great question. The last time he was on this lane with Jesper, he struggled. And I think right now Simonson's telling him you got to loft it. If you're going to loft the ball, you got to loft it with the lane, not up in the air, kind of like what we talked about in the last match.
Yeah, I mean, I also think, when you bowl for many years, you get times where you have to do other things. He's been so good at his A game. He hasn't needed a B game, to be honest.
No, he hasn't needed it at all. When you've done what he's done, you haven't needed it.
Don't back Dom Barrett in a corner. Knows how to come out firing, but that one did not do what he wanted.
You're better than that, aren't you? Come on.
Yeah, he knows. He just said it himself. You heard what he said. You're better than that, aren't you? He knows you got to throw it better than that.
I mean, that's a mile right of target.
Yeah, that's just a poorly executed shot. And it shows you in the Weber Cup what can happen. It's things get going one way, they snowball that way. Good and bad.
I'll tell you, that conversation that Jacob just had with Simonson, that is really the secret power in this Weber Cup. And right now, to me, Team Europe, they're not talking the same way Team USA is, and that has to count for something.
Well, it's hard. It's hard. There's not a lot of good things that have gone on, especially in these last 10 matches for Team Europe. And things have really compounded themselves. A guy and I talked about it earlier. We thought maybe the Europeans, after winning those 2 in a row, if they could get the next win, we could be onto something here. But the USA shut them down in a hurry.
Yeah, they sure did. And whatever Simonson said, that was the spinach for Jacob Butturff's Popeye.
He's telling him right now about the loft. That's what it sounded like.
Telling him about the loft. Uh-oh. If he's found his form, we could see strike all day long, like you were saying, Guy. You don't stop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not so sure that he's got what we would refer to as the nuts on this pair, on this lane, not a pair, but on this lane up. I still think that whoever wins this match is going to win it ugly to me. I don't know what you think.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a better answer from Dominic Barrett. But that low pin count may come up to cost him in the second frame. Let's see what happens. But yeah, it doesn't seem like either bowler is really locked in. Again, this 40-foot oil pattern, it's about shot making. And there's not a lot of margin for error. And the guys that have made the best shots, collectively in their 10 shots in the game have bowled the best. Can Buttercup catch a double?
Oh, he found something.
Yeah, that looked really good. That one, I like the look of that one.
I mean, it goes through the pins the right way. Team supporting him. As you can see, we talked about earlier. See Jacob, he likes to stand. He doesn't like to sit down. He's got to keep moving. He's not a guy who likes to sit down. So
the other thing I was thinking about to me is that you saw the end of Dom's second game, the 10th frame. He had that spare and he just rolled it from the foul line.
That was a mistake.
What do you think his mental state is right now? Because one thing about your physical state, but you got to be mentally sharp too. Could he be like just
great shot there?
I mean, he's a tough customer, this Dom Barrett, right? How many years has he been in this Weber Cup? He's come from behind. He's won it. I mean, he's a tough cookie.
No doubt, but you've got to have a short memory. You got to be in the here and now. You take the information from what you've just happened to you. You gather it, but then you've got to have a short-term memory for the bad and concentrate on the good and use it to your advantage.
He's got a 10-pin advantage right now.
Just look how high these scores are so far. We're talking about
6 count, maybe. Oh, that's a bad count. That's gonna seriously.
And that's what Jacob doesn't like to see. He doesn't like to see when he misses a little in. He doesn't like to see the ball go through the head pin like that.
No, that's right. And with him using the urethane ball, it wants to pick up early. It doesn't change direction a lot down lane, but it wants to see the lane early. So it doesn't give him a lot of margin for error down lane.
And so when Timmy's talking about early, we're talking about, you know, sooner down the lane. The lanes, the break points at 40 foot, 50 foot. That ball wants to start rolling at 30 foot.
Yes, got the mark anyway.
Really tough spare, Jesse. That's a great cover from Jacob Butturff. Well, that gives Dominic the lead on the bench. Should Dominic throw a strike here, all of a sudden the Europeans are up 24 pins.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, right now, if you're Dominic Barrett, it's how hard you said short memory. He really has to just put everything out of his mind from what happened so far today and realize if he can grab a point back, they'll be in a much better place going into tonight.
It just feels like the Europeans haven't won a point in forever. That's what it feels like.
I mean,
do you like that one? You like that one?
He does. And to be fair, guy, if the Europeans manage to lose this session 4-3, it'll nearly feel like a win. I mean, it feels like they've gotten beat 7-0 so far.
It has felt that way. I think the reason why it feels like that is because USA are winning some of their points by a country mile, and then they're splitting the close ones, so to speak.
Welcome back to Las Vegas and the final match from day 3 of the 20th Weber Cup. America hold a commanding 14-8 lead in the overall standings, but Dominic Barrett for Europe currently leads Jacob Butturff by 24 pins in their singles match. Tim Mack picks up the play.
Here's the crazy thing about it, guys. If Dominic Barrett should win this game, it's 14-9. It's only 5 points.
Yeah.
It's not insurmountable.
No.
But 15-8, you got to start thinking about having some cake.
Now, I don't know what the longest pattern is. I mean, but Chris Barnes must be thinking tomorrow. Is there one called like jousting pole or something like that? What is the longest sword they've got down there?
Well, I do believe, Jesse, that they picked the longest pattern in the bank of patterns that was available to the teams.
Okay.
Which was longsword. I don't know, what the decision is going to be for tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
To me, USA fans, to counter your argument, would say that Europe haven't won a session. There have been 3, and now they're going to try not to win 1 tomorrow. They're going to win 1 by 4.
But you only got to win 1, and you got to win it by 4.
But you got to win it handsomely.
You do.
Momentum is crazy in this game. This is a momentum builder if he strikes. See, that's the difference in guys that take bad and then turn it into good, or just put their head down and sulk. Dominic Barrett doesn't sulk. He figures out what he needs to do right. He didn't make the correct decision early this morning. He's obviously made that decision to change his angle and change his ball, and look at the result.
Yeah, they're making a little lemonade here, too. A couple handshakes, a couple hand slaps from Team Europe. They're trying to create some good feelings.
I mean, if we want to be hypercritical, and this is probably the most unfair statement I'll make all Weber Cup, is that if Chris got one selection wrong, is that he wasn't going to play Jacob much today. Then when he saw the practice, he thought he had a good look, and then put him in for a couple extra games. Perhaps wasn't the right decision.
Well, perhaps, yeah, but in hindsight, that's great. But listen, his initial thought process was actually correct based on what we're seeing. Because Jacob we thought on the shorter pattern wasn't going to have as good a ball reaction as he did on the longer pattern like he did yesterday. So Chris, in hindsight, actually was right with his first initial thoughts.
And, you know, he can't be feeling that bad. Tomorrow he's going to be featuring Troup and Simonson.
Correct.
I mean, he's not going to be feeling too bad going home with those two.
Not only that, Jess, he'll be featuring himself because, remember, on the longer pattern yesterday, Chris Barnes was money.
Yeah.
He was incredible.
Question is, who is Team Europe going to be featuring tomorrow if it is a longer pattern? They have to go back to Palermaa? Well, or is it going to be Jesper Svensson that has to step up?
I think right now it's got to be Stuart Williams, Jesper Svensson, Dominic Barrett, and then Oscar's going to have to find some mettle and some moxie and some of that heart that Dom talked about.
The only thing we got to remember, guys, for the viewers back home, is that you have to play an equal amount of games. So you can't go and have Dom play, you know,
Four games in a row.
Yeah, correct, absolutely. They've got to balance out that everybody bowls the same number of singles. So yes, you can hide them for 1 or 2 or 3 games, but at the end of the day, they've got to balance it up. So we've seen a lot of Dom and Stu tomorrow, so we're going to have to see Oscar and Jesper tomorrow.
Ooh. Now that gives a little life.
It certainly does.
That gives a little life back into Butturff.
Yeah, this is not going to. He's not going to mark this up, is he? And
well,
that
it's a
is
tough spare.
Yeah.
Would you go for the 10-pin side to me? I mean, it's only 1 pin, but there's much more chance of bouncing it out of the right corner due to the camera being installed in the back of the lane.
Oh, how'd he do it?
I guess he made the right decision.
How'd he do
Bounce it out. Against the guy that bounced it out last time. So there's the answer to your question. I would have taken the 2 pins anyway because of the pin count, but huge, huge, huge moment for Dominic Barrett. Watch as he bounces the 4 pin off the wall, just tickles the 10 pin on top. Watch it hit it right on the top of the neck, right here off the wall. Boom, right there, and it goes down.
That could be a storm shot of the day, Timmy.
That was
Certainly
like a rubber biscuit.
Well, Jacob now in the position where Europe have been most of the day in the must-strike position.
Yeah, I mean, now you see how important it was that he closed that frame out last time. Jacob coming back with the strike to put the pressure on. Look how tight this is.
But that's what we've seen, though, is that when USA got front running, they really put the hammer down. They never opened the door. Europe haven't managed to get that one game and just shut it out and just give them no chance. They always leave the door ajar, and a couple of the games, USA have snatched from them.
A little bit right off his hand, obviously. Very fortunate to leave 9. I mean, got to be happy with that.
That's a pure result of going through the face.
Correct.
The frame before.
And
Nice, Barry's still up 20 pins though, so.
Yeah, I mean, he's quietly putting together, Don Barrett, his best, match of the day. None too soon.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I thought he was using a urethane ball, but I don't believe he is. I just think he's using a really weak bowling ball that doesn't change direction a lot.
I got it too far right, obviously, but somewhat encouraging, isn't it?
Okay, he's having a chat with his team.
Yeah.
Got a 20-pin lead, and now we get into the foundation frame, the 9th frame, the money frame, the big time. This is where points are won and lost.
This is where tournaments are made, dreams are made, and dreams are shattered.
I feel like Dom is saying to himself, that's the last time I'm ever choosing the scimitar. I hope I never see it again. God, he's gotten a workout from this pattern today.
Yeah, this pattern really exposes you if you don't bowl absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, you've got to have it clicking on all cylinders here, or you'll be shown the door in a hurry.
Trying to keep the pressure on. Oh.
And that helps Dominic Barrett and Europe's chances here even more with a spare.
It hooks so much. Every shot you throw, it hooks more.
Well, there you have it.
See, Timmy, we talk, he likes to see the hold. He doesn't like to see that ball hooking. He wants to see that ball sit right there. It's just hooking too much.
He likes oil right, that's for sure, no doubt about it. When he has oil right, he's the daddy.
And I'm sure as time goes on, he's going to learn how to deal with that.
100%. He's too good. He's just too good.
Every shot you throw, it hooks more. So,
He's not happy. He's getting another ball. He's getting a ball that's going to not change direction as much down lane.
No, I mean, it's not going to matter. This game is done.
And look, you can see, this is the beauty of the Weber Cup. Best bowlers in the world, and the lane conditions are reducing them to Saturday night players.
Needs 1 mark for the win, and that's the mark. There's the winner. And all of a sudden, it's You look at as bad as this session went for Europe, guys. They only lost 1 point. I know they lost a point, and I know they needed to gather some points to move forward. But in the end of the day, 5 points is not insurmountable. 5 points is definitely not insurmountable, but 7 is.
Timmy, you said you were part of a team that came back from 7 points
17,
down.
11, and the race was to 18, and we won it off the trot.
Yeah,
so
and, you know, I watched an interview from Dom Barrett in 2017. He said the key to victory then for Europe was when they had the bad session, it wasn't too bad. Losing this 4-3, I mean, this has been pretty much of a disaster day for them.
It feels like it's the number is worse. That's what it feels like. Now, to the USA's defense, they're still 5 points in front, and they've got a nice cushion, and they've got obviously some leeway to play with. So they're going to be still extremely happy with, with what's going on and where the scores are right now.
This is going to set up well for the final day, the final session of the Weber Cup. Europe clawing one back, guys. But USA is going to have to get 4 points tomorrow, and Europe is going to have to win most of the rest of them. And that'll make them feel pretty good, Team Europe. Captain Dom Barrett grabbing one back, salvaging the session. But it has been all Team USA today. They extended their lead to 5 points. And Weber Cup Day 3, it is 14-9. Everything gonna happen. The title will be decided tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Weber Cup, where Dominic Barrett has just claimed a huge point for Team Europe, ending a run of 3 US victories to narrow the overall score to 14-9. Both captains are now talking to Hannah Wilkes.
Dom, I'll come to you first of all. You said to me just in that break, you needed that, and you really did, didn't you?
Yeah, we definitely couldn't lose that one. At the moment, I've got a good little record against Jacob from the US Open till now, so I know he's going to break that eventually, but it's nice to sort of keep him there for a minute.
It's a huge turnaround in form from you, just in the space of a few hours. I've got to ask how you got yourself ready again for that, because the way you were reacting after your second loss, just chucking that ball down the lane, to come around and win like that, it really is quite a turnaround.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing for me before was, Kyle just bowled too good. I had sort of my 6 or 7 strikes a game. I think that's pretty normal, apart from my first game against Chris earlier on in the session. And it's just not enough. I don't really feel like there's much more that I do as a bowler. I don't have the 7-8 baggers. I have sort of 6 or 7 strikes a game, make plenty of spares. And in this format, against Kyle in that game, just wasn't enough. So I was a little bit frustrated, but have enough time to come back out and reset and go after another point.
14-9 is not where you'd like to be necessarily at the end of day 3, but 5 points isn't insurmountable, is it, in Weber Cup?
Certainly isn't. We've done that before. I think it was like 4 or 5 points, if I remember, but that was all part of our history, which is important, but it doesn't really affect what we're doing tomorrow. We need to just bowl really good and see what happens.
You certainly do. Well done today, Don. Well played, especially in that last game. Chris, he reckons he can catch you.
Well, history would say that it is possible, and but unfortunately for him, we're well aware of that history, and so there won't be any letting up or lack of focus early on. We know what has to be done, and we'll be trying to get there as early as possible.
It wasn't the easiest day out on the lane, was it? Especially with the lane conditions and the way they were changing so quickly. How proud are you of your team for getting 4 or 5 wins today? Well, we wanted to win the session, and ultimately that's what we achieved. It was a lot of ups and downs, and I think mostly my job is to make sure they show up on time and get them in the right order. But I was able to help them out a little bit today, and then tomorrow, we've set them up to where we have our big guns left for tomorrow.
2 wins for Chris Barnes and 1 each for Kyle Troup and Anthony Simonson were enough to wrap up the 3rd session for the USA and move them on to 14 points, just 4 short of the 18 needed. With the fourth and final day featuring a selection of singles, doubles and, if needed, a Baker match, the question is, where will it be won? If Europe can stage a fight back and overhaul the 5-point deficit, it could go the distance. But if the US can put together a run of victories, it could be an early knockout. Let's find out now, starting with match 24, a doubles contest between Troup and Barnes for the US and Williams and Palermaa for Europe. Commentary for this match comes from Guy Kaminsky, Tim Mack and Jesse May.
Sin City has been Pin City this week. Tonight we answer the question, who will be leaving Las Vegas with the Weber Cup? And Tim Mack, Europe have traditionally been very strong in the doubles, but on this lane pattern, facing Kyle Troup and Chris Barnes, it's like taking on Captain America and Hulk. They got the work cut out for them.
Yeah, they certainly, you made a great point that the Europeans have been great in the team environment, and notoriously over the years, the doubles is very much suited their style and what they like to do because of their communication. But boy, oh boy, do they have their hands full on this 40-foot oil pattern with Chris Barnes and Kyle Troup, Guy Kaminsky.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the big advantage for Europe here is that this lane pattern, after watching practice, really suits Osku. He hasn't really liked it too much hook down lane in the shorter pattern. He hasn't looked as good. But in the long oil pattern, we saw on day 2 that he went really straight, controlled the pocket, and with a two-hand in the rev rate, he can still get the corner pins out, where perhaps the guy with his thumb and battles to get the corners out.
No, that's right. And out of the 3 days so far, Osku definitely looked the better on the longer pattern, and this is the second longest pattern in the event. And in my opinion, guys, he has to step up.
Yeah, but I mean, who has looked the best, not only on the longest pattern, but, you know, overall, it's this man, Kyle Troup, who I think has put up the 2 best individual scores on the lanes this week. And, I mean, he's just been a monster.
Yeah, he bowled the best game of the day yesterday, hands down. And picks up where he left off.
Kyle's been so good, I think he could beat us in the car park right now.
I mean, he's got so much confidence. You know, one thing he said to me downstairs, guys, was, you know, Timmy, I just feel so comfortable out in this one-lane environment. It's the environment, it's the setting, it's the fence. This is what Kyle Troup is made for, this event. He is made for this.
And I was thinking about, you know, Stu Williams had a couple of problems with getting distracted by the crowd in yesterday's session. And obviously, it's very unusual, isn't it? This setup where you've got the crowd, you're looking into the crowd. It never happens in bowling.
It's a whole different animal. We've talked about it multiple times for the viewers at home and for the people around the world that are watching. The Weber Cup environment is the most difficult environment in bowling to have success on and get comfortable in.
Yeah, but when you go bowling, and these guys have grown up, the people watching are always behind you. You never have anyone in your line of sight because the bowling lanes are running in front of you and everyone watches from behind. So it does take a bit of time to me to settle in, getting used to the crowd so close, because it's impossible for them all to sit dead still.
Visuals in our sport are so key. Yeah, we're always focusing on our target, focusing on a spot, and it's tough sometimes when somebody moves their feet with their foot and they just, you know, catches a bowler's eye. Chris is having some problems here with his feel. I think he should step back, put his ball down and reset, but he doesn't.
So the big thing here for Stu and Chris is that they tend to leave a bit of corner pins. We say their pocket is not as big as the likes of Kyle's and Osku's. But when you hit them out flush, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
Perfect start from the first 3. Osku Palermaa seeing if he can make it 4 for 4 for a perfect quartet. And is this an indication of what this lane is going to bring today, guys? This pattern is always going to be Strike City.
Right now, the players are playing to the right, so they're actually going to break the lane down and make it. They should make it quite good for the upcoming matches. I think confidence-wise for the European team, I know this is just a second shot of the game, but I think this is a big shot early. Get Osku some confidence right here.
We don't usually see him this far to the right, do we?
Well, Europe have, I mean, we've seen USA, but Europe have really now moved right, trying to copy USA.
Great shot, Oscar Palermaa. Great shot. Way to answer the bell there, my friend.
And just for people watching, this is exactly what USA want. They want this to be a slugfest because they believe they will strike more than Europe.
No question about it. I mean, Dom is in his camp want to hope that there's less strikes played and the scoring pace a little bit lower, but the USA want as many strikes as possible so they can utilize their youth, strength, and power.
No one more powerful than Troup this week.
Oh, he's been perfect. I mean, what a momentum, man. He just knows how to rise to the occasion, does Kyle Troup.
No question. I'll tell you who's been great on the long pattern. It's his partner, Chris Barnes. It feeds right into what he likes to do. Look at how straight the angles are on the front. You don't see the big hook, so you've got that big, heavy, two-handed rev rate going up the lane, not changing direction, never leaving the pocket. It's going to be a hard chance for any pin to stand with that ball going through the pins.
I mean, Tim, you know a lot about captain's tactics, having been one yourself in the Weber Cup. Huge credit to Chris Barnes, who's now in a perfect spot. He wanted this long pattern. He wanted to save Troup and Simonson. He's done everything he wanted to and is now set up for victory here for Team USA.
He's made every right call this week. Look at what we have here, guys.
Boy.
We haven't seen this yet from both teams where everyone's perfect through 3 frames.
No, we haven't. My only concern is with Oscar using the urethane and Stu, 1 ring 10 can be the difference between these. It's going to be a one-hit match.
It could. This could come down to just one shot where someone leaves a 10 pin, a 7 pin. I agree with you, but right now, perfect through 6.
Amazing. I mean, it's like the first ball to hang is going to be this match, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the environment. You know, there's a lot of banter going on amongst the players and the crowd, which has been fantastic all week. Hats off to the crowd for really making a great effort out here.
He's been so good this week, Chris Barnes. Not just as a captain, but as a player, he has stepped up when he's needed to.
No question about it. And Jesse, he's been phenomenal on the longer pattern. He was great on longsword a couple days ago, and it plays right into Chris Barnes' strengths. He's really good at keeping the ball in front of him. When I say that, he doesn't go left to right with his angles, so he keeps the ball much straighter on a straighter path towards the pocket. And when he can do that, he can repeat like a machine.
I mean, Dom couldn't have asked for more from his players, but you would be just hoping for a good break to get off to a good start, and USA won't even, the door's absolutely locked. They won't give them a chance.
They're like, we'll just go all day here.
They just won't let him breathe. Oscar's got to find another. Oh, he does!
Oh!
I love it.
You know what?
Through 4.
USA may want this bad, but Europe are not going to give it up easy, are they?
It seems teams overnight have had some really good strategical game plans and tactics. Dom calling Oscu and Stewart to step up to the plate, and it's paid off dividends for them early with the front 4 here staying in the match. But the USA playing on house money right now with the front 4 themselves.
It's been 8 shots, 8 strikes. Kyle Troup to keep this thing going.
Oh, the messenger just misses it.
Was that a bit of weird luck, or was the execution?
I think that's a bad break, Jesse. The ball gets a little bit long on this pattern, and the messenger comes over and just is not enough power off the lanes, which is surprising. It gets a little long right there. You see the head pin come off the wall, and it just hits the stop sign and doesn't get over there to hit it.
Yeah, just slightly more entry angle than the previous ones, coming
That's right.
fractionally behind the hip. And but with that rev rate, they used to seeing the tempo get blown away by the messenger.
Right.
That's what we mean. Their pockets look bigger. They can hit the hip and slightly light.
Oh, we got that
the
one
power they have, it just
you don't have to do it
just
anymore.
strikes more often. It's hard to say. But the kids today have learned finesse. Normally, when guys are so powerful, you would expect them to miss their target.
That's right.
But these guys have managed to keep the power, but with accuracy.
This is a big shot, guys. Right
Yeah,
here.
I mean,
Big
bowling
shot.
at its finest, but you feel like, they made a mark, but it's like the door open. They've been nearly perfect, and all of a sudden you feel like Stu has a chance here to grab this for Europe.
This is a big
And
shot.
And there's nobody else Dom would want to be bowling right now other than Beef Stew. He loves these moments.
And he delivers. He delivers. I like the fact that he doesn't go crazy. I like the fact that he's kept his emotions in check because he knows that the lane pattern right now is conducive to very high scoring.
Welcome back to the 20th edition of the Weber Cup from Las Vegas, where Williams and Palermaa for Europe hold a narrow lead over Troup and Barnes for the USA in a high-scoring doubles contest. Tim Mack picks up the play alongside Guy Kaminsky and Jesse May.
Oh boy.
And that is uncharacteristic of Kyle Troup. What's going on suddenly with his ball, guys?
I think that's the overcorrection. Okay, the last shot comes a little bit light, and he wants to make sure this one's gonna roll off the spot a little harder. That's in the break point.
And he got around it a little.
Yeah, he got around it a little bit. Yeah, to try to help it. Steers it a little bit, and just gives it a little bit too much, and leaves a very difficult spare.
But Timmy, you're right. It's definitely a result of the previous frame. He was worried about coming in behind the head pin, so he tried to get it to face up a bit sooner, and an overcorrection there for sure.
Let's see if Jesse Barnes has to get the ball to the left side or the right side of that 3-pin and slide everything over into the wall. Doesn't get it done. A huge opening here for Europe. Come on, Oscar. Can we Oscu walk through the open door and put up another?
I mean, you talk about a statement to make on day 4. Team Europe are on the verge of, it's like in the schoolyard, knock down the biggest guy to get respect. I'll tell you what, everyone's going to start noticing Europe now if they can take out Troup and Barnes here.
Listen, I think it's key right now, as Guy alluded to earlier before the match started, and during this match, Oscar's got the most powerful ball, and this pattern plays right in his strengths.
I'll lay that.
Oh, what a shot.
Just a hanger.
Shot.
That was always a risk when you're throwing urethane on 44 foot.
And why is that?
Just because he hasn't got very much, the ball stays really straight. If you see going through the pins there, just over deflects, getting the ring 10. But they can actually afford that now, which is nice for if you're a European fan.
Yeah, you've got, if you're Dom Barrett sitting watching this match on the couch over there, you got to be extremely pleased with what's happened through the first 6 frames of this opening match on the last day of the Weber Cup.
And Timmy, this is what we saw when Oscar bowled that other game. He got out to a good lead.
Yes.
But the transition of the lane, that urethane starts to, remember he left the ring 10, then he went to the 4-pin in that previous game. Do you think he should make any changes coming up to the last 4 frames? Because they're going to need him to strike.
When this kind of lane, this pattern breaks down? Does it mean you have to? What is the change you have to make?
Well, there's a lot of oil in the front, that travels from the front of the lane down the lane, and it changes the angles through the front, and also speed control and how you get the ball to go through the pitch. And there's a ball change right there from Kyle.
A little more hook on that one, right?
Yeah, he goes to a stronger ball, a ball that shapes off the spot a little bit more. When I say shapes, has a little bit more down lane motion, Jesse. He moves a little bit further left with his you can see his angle, and he shapes the ball a little bit more, and you see the ball hook a little bit more down lane.
And you see he's going for that angle. That's what Oscar can't do with the urethane. He can't create more angle because that ball is designed to go very, very straight. So, I mean, I don't know if I would tell Oscar to make any changes, but they're going to need it. They're going to have to still strike at least 3 of the next 4 to shut them out.
Yeah, it's a knife edge here right now.
Let's see what this ball does.
Half flush. I mean, he played a real straight there. He didn't give the pocket away.
Not at all. That's a great shot from Oscar. I got to tip my cap to him. He's dug his spikes in here, and he threw it hard. As he said, you can see he throws it really hard and straight. Never lets the ball leave the pocket. It's seeing the 1-3 pocket the whole time. High
He
flush.
blasted that ball. He
High
blasted it.
Puts the pressure back on the captain here, Chris Barnes.
And now for Chris, he hasn't bowled in 4 frames to me.
Guy Kaminsky on cue. You called it. You called it. You don't throw a shot for a couple of frames, and all of a sudden,
he just didn't make the move. Probably didn't make a big enough a move. There's a bit of guesswork out there. You talk to your partner and you discuss it, and is it maybe one board, two boards, but perhaps it's just a combination of just getting the wrong move and maybe a bad shot.
Yeah, that didn't look too good. I think that's sometimes you have to move on the blind, Jesse. And when I say move on the blind, there's been 5 or 6 shots, 4 or 5 shots thrown before Chris threw his last strike shot, and there's transition moving there, and he knows that. And he's probably going to be mad at himself because he didn't make the move, and he probably should have made the move on the blind.
He had to guess. He had to guess, and he wanted to be shown it first, right? He wanted to be shown the cards.
Listen, as a bowler, everything is an educated guess out there. You're hoping to make the right decision. Stu to really put the hammer down right here. You'll see emotion with this strike.
That looked perfect.
Oh, Europe looked like they mean business.
You know what? I'm surprised. I don't think we saw what Stewie is really keeping it in check. I think he knows that
he's thinking the big picture.
He's looking in for the long haul. What a shot by Stuart Williams! My goodness.
I think he wants to put a little fear in Team USA when they look over there. He says, "I'm expecting this. I'm not even excited yet."
They're in a 45-pin commanding lead here right now, and barring any unforeseen crazy situations coming down the stretch, they're going to take this opening point.
And we've been talking about it, Jesse, is that we haven't really seen Europe dominate a game. Every game they've won has been very, very close.
This is the first time.
This is the first time. And is this the start of something for Europe?
I mean, we've seen everything so far in this Weber Cup except this, which is Europe looking loose enough, looking like they're having no pressure, playing free, and just throwing their game.
I'm saying right now, this guy has been the key to this game right here. He stepped up to the plate and has made great shots. Oscar Palermaa, my hat's off to you this game. My hat's off to you, Oscar. You have stepped up to the plate and job done. But coming into the last day.
I mean, we said it when we compared the two teams. He's the only real power player, the two-handed style of the European teams. And when we saw the long, we knew this would suit Oscar the most out of the entire European team.
Dominic Barrett said a couple days ago, he felt like, he gave Oscar the pep talk, and Oscar has stepped up to the plate when his team needed him the most. Him and Stu have bowled in a phenomenal game. The highest doubles game of the tournament so far.
Absolutely. And for Kyle Troup, these guys, USA just trying to keep them honest, just trying to keep Europe honest. They don't want to give an easy victory here. But will this be this is the closeout, right?
Yeah, this match is done.
This match is over. It's over. This point is over. But Kyle Troup, I believe, is up next, guys. And I think he bowls Stuart Williams. And right now, Kyle's looks really good to the pocket. And so does Stuart Williams. We should have a really, really, really big score this next match. Job done. Europeans 289, highest game of the event.
All right, come on, let's go.
You want drama? You got it.
Thanks.
Team Europe is not here to make up the numbers. They still have their eye on the Weber Cup.
Well, Stu and Oscar are alongside me now. Stu, you just said to me in the break, feeling a little bit dangerous today.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield style. Yeah, me and Oscar felt comfortable, and we made good shots, and we got the victory, but it's a long way to go yet. 4 points is a lot to get back, but we can only do it one at a time.
You certainly can. As the first one's out there, I've got to ask you, how's the lane playing?
Easy. So, yeah, the scores were pretty good for us, so hopefully it stays that way.
Wow, Chris Barnes might be kicking himself at this oil toss. I'll let you go, get ready for your match. Oscar, we've seen you kind of struggle at times over this week, but you were looking like the Oscar we were expecting to see out there. How good are you feeling today?
It's so much easier when you feel comfortable. I got a little of it the 2 days ago already, and now this pattern is fairly similar to me, so can't wait to get back on the lane.
It suits you, it suits you. What's the mood like in the European camp? Because you and Stu just now really seem pumped up for this today.
We've done it before, so come on. We might do it again.
A fabulous win for Europe by a 43-pin margin. Adds some much-needed blue to the board at the start of day 4. Can Williams continue the momentum when he returns to the lane to face Kyle Troup in singles action, or will the USA edge closer to retaining the trophy? We'll find out next time when the Weber Cup continues.